Hi, everyone. Mark reached out to our executive board recently and introduced his company and what they do, and we got interested in their, relatively speaking, new project that's called Iman. Rustam Rakhmatov and Mark Zubov are founders of Iman, an Uzbekistan-based Islamic Fintech startup. Iman's platform enables customers first in Uzbekistan and hopefully soon worldwide to invest and get funding ethically according to their beliefs. So, according to the founders, there are 700 million Muslims worldwide that are young and digitally connected, but they don't use banking products, credit or deposits because traditional banks and fintechs don't cater to their needs. Similarly, in Uzbekistan, where Islamic finance is non existent, only 6% of the population uses banking products. Iman solves that problem by offering an Islamic PoS lending solution to retailers, allowing them to grow their sales. Shoppers then can buy anything they want and pay for their projects over time in simple, halal monthly installments. For investors, Iman offers a one stop shop, meaning multitudes of products and services in one package for halal investments. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our Uzbek diaspora. We're glad to be hosting this interview with you guys. So, in the first section, I just want to focus on you guys, your professional background. We're not going to talk about your company profile as of yet. Okay, let's start with Mark. Can you tell me about yourself, your professional background, where you're based, and your current occupation, and etc.?
That sounds great. So my name is Mark. I'm one of the founders and the CFO of Iman. So I'm actually originally from Russia, born and raised. I think when I was about 16 or so, I moved to the States to pursue my professional tennis career and go to college. So I went to school in the Midwest called University of St. Francis, studied finance, started my career in investment banking, actually working for a firm called Westpark Capital in Los Angeles. So moved to LA, spent a couple of years there, mostly focused on working on equity and debt and M&A transactions across tech, biotech, retail, and other sectors, mostly in the US and China. So after spending some time, in LA, I was always really interested, I would say, fascinated by frontier markets or emerging markets. I just always thought that there is just so much more opportunity, in like countries like less, countries that are underserved by, I would say, by most investors. So that's actually how I ended up moving to an investment fund called IFG Capital, which was essentially investing in Central Asia and Eastern Europe. So I was, for the next couple of years, I was spending a lot of time, in going between Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kosovo. But then, our firm mostly focused on Uzbekistan, which is how I ended up moving to Tashkent, and spent a year and a half or so living in Tashkent. Had a really good time, both personally and professionally. Ate a lot of plov, as you can imagine. And back there we were, our firm was focused on investing mostly in metals and mining sector, but then also looking at other opportunities more broadly, including financial services. Like we looked at investments at a few banks, and actually that's how I met Rustam, and he can tell you more about how we met.
Sure.
But basically, that's actually when we started working on the idea, because we kind of saw the huge gap in the market, in the consumer finance space. We'll tell you more about it later. But basically what happened since then, I ended up moving to Dubai. Like shortly after we started working on Iman, I joined another firm called Cross Boundary, which is a US-based investment firm, also focused exclusively on frontier markets. so yeah, been based here in Dubai for the last couple of years. So the firm, the firm Cross Boundaries is an investment firm that has like two main business verticals. One is direct investments in Africa, primarily in the renewable energy space. And then we have an advisory vehicle, which I've been a part of. So essentially, we would advise various institutional investors on identifying opportunities for frontier markets, assessing them, structuring them. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of like briefly what I've been up to. Again, still based in Dubai. Still have a day job working for Cross Boundary, and then obviously I'm one of the founders of Iman. So at Iman, I'm also responsible for fundraising and finance and sort of the general strategy. That's briefly
Awesome.
my background.
I can tell you've been like jumping from one country to another, looking for a lot of opportunities, right? So, what are the main differences in terms of like business climate, being able to do business in all these countries that you've been to? Like, let's say Russia, that's where you come from, and the States, and Dubai, and so many other countries.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's every country is different. I think. I mean, what differentiates markets like Uzbekistan or any frontier markets? I mean, one is obviously there is just not as much. You don't really have an established, let's say, capital ecosystem. You don't really have an established. You don't really have like the enabling environment that you would have in the West, like you would have in the US. You have investment banks. You would have obviously like very developed ecosystem of private equity funds, VC funds, startups, everything.
Right.
While like in Uzbekistan, you don't have any of that. So there is this big opportunity. But then it's just doing business is just much more challenging in terms of how much it takes to do due diligence and. But I think I mean in general like it's what I really like is like just seeing having some experience in like US, let's say, and just trying to figure out how this experience can be replicated, like and adapted to a place like Uzbekistan.
Right.
But then, of course, if you go into frontier markets, still every country is different. Uzbekistan is very different from Kenya. Every country has different problems, has different opportunities as well. But I think for me, it's always been like really cool, just that in one there is a big opportunity to create some let's say outsized financial returns, but then also opportunity to create big impact, big development impact as well, which is like what always attracted me to frontier markets.
Awesome. That's great. Okay. All right. How about Rustam? Tell me about yourself, please.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Thanks for invitation. Thanks for calling us. My name is Rustam Rahmatov. I'm one of the founders of Iman and CEO. I was born and raised in Uzbekistan, in the city called Bikabat. It's in Tashkent region. So I finished school there. It was maths-oriented school. And then I left Uzbekistan to study in UK. So I studied there, took ACCA courses, and started a career in Tashkent, Big Four, as an intern. Then I felt that accounting and audit is really not my field, and that it's a little bit boring for me. And then I decided to change the sphere. So I found the finance, especially the corporate finance, is interesting, and moved to IOG Capital, where I met Mark actually. And it's interesting that in the beginning, Mark hired me, and he was my hiring manager. So I was under the interview, and the Mark was one of the decision makers there. And so we were working together for the I think for 2 years, and during our studies of the market and during analysis of the banking sector of Uzbekistan, we found a great opportunity and a great problem actually that Muslims do not use banking services, and that's how Iman was found.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get back to you now. We're gonna be talking
Yeah.
about in the
Yeah.
second segment.
Yeah. 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 We'll be talking about it later. But
Yeah.
then Mark left Tashkent, Uzbekistan. He moved to Dubai,
Mhm.
and after a while, I felt alone, and then moved to IFC, World Bank Group. I was dealing there with investments, mainly in real sector, and was responsible for investments in horticulture mainly. And
Mhm.
the deals were there like from $10 million up. And I used to work there for around little less than 1 year.
Mhm.
And 6 months ago, I quit IFC to work full time on Iman.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's a little story about me.
That's very nice. So accounting and auditing seemed very boring too, and then you switched over to something else that offers better opportunities. If
Yeah,
I get it right. Okay,
yeah,
awesome. So and the idea of Iman came out of a problem, not out of like an incentive, financial incentive, but out of a problem, which is an
yeah,
interesting thing. We're gonna be talking about it
yeah,
later. So
yeah,
okay, and Mark hired you. That's interesting.
yeah,
The best,
yeah,
How it
the
started.
best hiring decision I made. The best hiring decision I ever made.
Oh wow, that must be the best
yeah,
compliment you ever received.
yeah, yeah,
And now
yeah,
you guys are
yeah,
partners. How did it change the dynamics of your relationships? Because you were an employee at the beginning, and all of a sudden you guys are like basically managing this initiative, managing this project called Iman. So how did it
yeah,
change your what do you call it, relationships?
yeah. I think I owe a lot to my partner, to Mark. I learned a lot from him, especially at the beginning. I was like with British education, but local experience. And during like first 6 months, I learned a lot of foreign techniques, foreign tools, and the hands-on experience that I received. And then when Iman was found, um, we I was sure that I was sure that that must be under the principles of Islamic finance,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I think the critical point was, because Mark is not like um, is not a Muslim, and that's where the critical point was, and that's where I started respecting him a lot for supporting that initiative and understanding that Islamic finance is not only about the religion but also about ethics,
Oh,
and you can be faith driven not being Muslim. So that's how our relationship moved to next level.
awesome. That's great. So my written question was, how did you guys get to know each other? So you already touched on it. How did you guys, how did you two of you guys form a business relationship? Like, how did it start? Who started talking about this great idea? Did you guys, and also, did you guys work together as a team or on other project prior to Iman?
Yeah, well, I think yeah. To answer your last question, I think we definitely had, and I think the great thing about the firm we were working for together, even though I was sort of one of the more senior guys, it
Mm,
was still a relatively flat, you know, organization. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even as an intern, even as an analyst,
Yeah.
you had your voice, and you could have a big impact in the company even as an intern. Which is why, like, and I honestly and I think this is a kind of the same approach we have at Iman. We don't really believe in like titles. I mean, titles are there to create some structure, but it's not, it's all merit based. If you can bring value, if you can prove that, you're right, you can do it as a intern. It's not about the experience. It's not about how old you are or where you worked for before. So that's one. So yeah, I mean, we've worked on a bunch of transactions together. We were trying to set up like an investment banking practice at IFG. So we did a lot of business development, just trying to source interesting transactions, like anything from startups, investments in startups, to like solar energy projects. And then I think the last deal we've worked on together was pretty major transaction. That was actually our firm basically got the mandate from the government to run the restructuring process for the NMMC. NMMC is like the largest gold mining company in Central Asia. And the goal has been to prepare the company for an IPO in 2023 or 2024. So Rustam and I were actually on the same team, basically, helping the company, get everything in order to attract international investments. So we were building the financial model and the business plan together. So we had, I think that having that experience translated nicely into working on Iman. And there was another question that you had. Now I lost my train of thought. What was that?
No, that's good. That's good. That's how we go, right? Go with the flow. So that's amazing. So the founders of Iman don't believe in the titles, so they believe in creating a value. I like that. And you guys worked in the industry of solar energy, gold mining. Those are like very big industries. I like that. So it can tell us that you guys have a rich professional background, and that would definitely probably help you guys to navigate through hardships in this Iman problem in the future, because you guys, I could tell you guys have a bigger perspective in terms of organizing business, establishing business, running business. Okay, that sounds interesting. All right, let's do some icebreaker. Mark, can you tell me about tell me one interesting fact about Rustam? Could be funny or could be whatever, and interesting.
Well, I think Rustam is let's see. Interesting fact about Rustam. Let me think. I think Rustam is really into Dota. He used to be into Dota. Now, not anymore. Not anymore because of Iman. Unfortunately,
exactly.
22 hours a day, so he has to sleep sometimes. So, and again, interesting fact, I think Rustam doesn't sleep. You can message him at any point of the day; he'll respond to you. If it's 2 a.m. I think.
That's very interesting.
Maybe he can tell you the secret. For me, I have to sleep. I'm a normal human being. I have to sleep. Solid like 6-7 hours a day.
Yeah, actually, it's been like 2 years last played Dota, but yeah, I was really into it. Like one of the champions of Westminster.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. So that's very interesting. That's so personal.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it in the level of obsession, your interest in gaming, or was it like just an interest that you just played it on the side?
Yeah, it was obsession because everything I do, I do get obsessed about it, and I cannot hold myself. So yeah, now the main obsession is Iman. So
that's what I was expecting from you.
yeah. So it's a magnificent obsession, like Jim Rohn says. So you cannot sleep, or you cannot like watch TV or do something like just for entertaining.
True, true. Especially if you're responsible for the management of the investments of so many people, right? So you got to be
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
accountable, right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mark is based in Dubai, and Rustam is in Tashkent. How do you guys manage your tasks on a daily basis? How do you guys communicate, hold each other responsible for deadlines? Can the distance cause any challenge in doing business, or how often do you guys meet at all?
That's a good question. You want to answer that one?
Yeah, sure. So that's that's we used to work together, so we know how a good professional needs to uh, make his timetable, shared calendars, working in task management, working in agile groups. So we've got a task manager, so we don't have to even make meetings to control projects, to control tasks. So task manager helps project manager. We work in Jira, for example, and yeah, we chat every every hour and make meetings twice a week for planning and for demos. So yeah, that's a process that we built, and we just follow it, and yeah, it's
Yeah, and I feel like
maybe you wanna add something, Mark.
now
Yeah.
I would just say that I agree with everything Rustam said. I would just say like the last couple of years have shown that any work can be done remotely. Luckily, well, I wouldn't say luckily, but I think you know now we understand that a lot of those meetings that you would always have to do in person then can actually be done via Zoom.
Mhm.
And for me, I mean the future is remote work. I mean, maybe not today, but eventually, like I don't really see, any point of having to be in the office and working from the same room. Um, and like yeah, last year obviously people were forced to work remotely, so and I
Right.
think they see the value. You don't waste time on commute. You don't waste time on travel, and you can be actually much more productive. I think. Um,
Okay.
Although we do have a nice office in Tashkent, so and people come work
Yeah,
from the
because I believe in great power of discipline. That's why I believe that people need to meet personally. That's where we have arguments with Mark, and that's a good thing, you know. You need to always have you need to always have a challenging environment, and that's why we keep, for example, call center in the office. They need to stay disciplined. They need to have a trainer in the office offline. That's why we keep the post agents. That's why we keep office actually, for
Okay.
disciplining and for better results.
Okay. Awesome. So you guys have already mentioned some of the platforms that you guys use on a daily basis. One is Task Manager, and another one was what again? Jira.
It's a
Jira.
Jira.
Yeah. Jira.
It's
Okay.
like Trello but more advanced.
Oh, it's like Trello, but more than. Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting. Okay, and also Zoom.
yeah,
Yep.
sure.
Okay, and you guys meet twice to organize meetings and stuff.
Yeah,
And Rustam prefers meeting personally because it kind of
yeah,
builds stronger bonds, right? That's good.
yeah,
And I'm sure the pandemic environment also kind of impacted your business somehow. You know,
yeah.
probably was natural for you guys to start this big initiative like online in the virtual world, basically. And okay, awesome. I don't want to ignore some of the questions that are coming from our audience. One seems to be very relevant. Let's see. Is it important to seek education abroad to seize opportunities and achievements like yours? So any of
Um,
you just pick it up and
yeah.
answer.
I mean, for me personally, I would say it's not important. I mean, we are living in the 21st century, and you can learn everything online. You can go to YouTube. You can go to Twitter, you can go to LinkedIn, you can go to, I mean, there is just the availability of information has never been greater, and it's only going to get better. So for me, I mean, yeah, going to a school, I mean, people mostly do it just for the credentials themselves, not to actually get the knowledge. I think the knowledge can be obtained online, and this is the beauty, like I think, living today, even if you are, based in Nigeria, as long as you have a smartphone, as long as you have internet access, you can learn anything you want online and like for free. So I would say, yeah, I would say I don't think it's important. But then obviously it does help. If you want to break into investment banking, it would be hard to do it without getting a formal education.
And I'm sure knowing a different language would be a good prerequisite to, gaining more opportunities, I would say, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think now it's, I really can't see anyone having, building a career without speaking English. I think if you don't speak English, it will be just really challenging no matter where you are. And then, of course, yeah, I mean, depending on like what you're trying to do, in many cases, yeah, I think knowing second language, can be helpful. And I mean, it's good. It's just a good thing to, I think, like just for personal like growth, personal development. That's a good thing to pursue.
You want to add anything, Rustam?
Yeah, here I have a different opinion as well. I believe that education is important, but it's not crucial for some industries. For example, like Mark said, 100% for investment banking, for audit, for accounting, you can't have success without fundamentals, without formal education. But for careers like coding, like marketing, or some new like jobs that arise in 21st century, you don't have to. For example, our head architecture, our VP of engineering doesn't have a formal education, but he hires like guys from universities, and he has like hundreds of coders. So in professions like this, you don't have to. It's not crucial.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks very much for advice. And we're moving to the second very important section that you guys been waiting for. Company profile. Who came up with the idea of Iman? Who did it? How did it happen? And how much courage did it take you guys to get started with one of the newest ideas in Uzbekistan, where the banking sector has not developed to the global standard level?
Yeah. Mark, you can start.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's difficult to say like who came up with an idea. And honestly, I'm not sure if I remember the whole process we were going through in the beginning. I think all of us understood the problem. We saw the opportunity. Maybe we had some different ideas on how this problem could be solved. So maybe we had different ideas for a solution, but we all had the same vision, with the same vision for the of the opportunity. But I also think the idea evolved so much since we first came up with it. So if you look at the idea we had 2.5 years ago, it's nowhere near what we have right now in front of us. So I think I would say it was a team's effort. I think we knew there was an opportunity in consumer finance space. We knew that the market needs user-friendly Islamic financial products. I think that was clear. But then the way how we can design a product, how we can structure it in a halal, in a Sharia compliant way, but at the same time legally compliant way, in the same time also commercially sustainable way. I mean, that was a question, and obviously that's why it took a bit of time for us to come up with actual model, business model, with actual product.
Okay. Anything to add?
Yeah, like 100% agree. The business model was changed like 100 times before we found our niche. And at first it was different. Now it's totally different. And the only thing I can say that the naming Iman was my initiative, and that was supported by Mark. And yeah. The rest is totally teamwork.
Okay, awesome. You guys use some important terms in your answer: user-friendly, financial product, legally compliant, and commercially sustainable. That's interesting. Do you guys think you have already achieved that level of what do you call the level of standard?
I feel like my answer would be like we would never. We always want to strive to improve the product. Like we'll never get to that stage when you'll say, "Yeah, this is perfect." Like you can always make something easier to use for a customer.
Yeah.
You can always make it more accessible. You can always make it more affordable. So I think if one day we say, "Yeah, this is it," I feel like we should probably like close the business.
Sounds good. Sounds good. 2.5 years is a decent amount of time, I guess. And I could see like our audience, the number of audience is increasing since we start talking about company. Okay, that's good. I want to encourage everyone who are watching us to ask away any questions if you're interested in investing or like using their products or services. Please go ahead and throw your questions in the comment section. Okay, what is Iman Invest in short? And is it a bank, an investment firm, an equity fund, marketplace, or something else? And please try to explain it in simple terms so non-financial savvy individuals who are watching us may understand, may relate to it.
Yeah, I would say I can start and then Rustam can jump in. But the way I would describe it is an app, through which you can invest in a Sharia compliant way. So basically, I would call it like an Islamic wealth fund if you are in the US. We are currently offering only one investment product, which is investment in those installments. So we have we issue installments through our merchant partners, and basically investors that invest through the app, they fund those installments, and this would generate pretty attractive Sharia compliant returns. The vision is to really build a one-stop shop for halal investments. So the vision is to offer all kinds of Islamic products, so anything from investments in real estate to businesses to halal ETFs, stocks, gold, crypto, you name it. So that's how I describe it. But of course, I think Rustam, feel free to jump in.
If you have anything to add, please go ahead.
Yeah, Iman Invest is a global one-stop shop for investments. And the first product that we offer is investing in BNPL, buy now, pay later. So in simple terms, using like global brands, we could say that we are building Iman invest in Islamic Klarna, Islamic BNPL. And why we started from BNPL? Because the margins are super high. The profits we get are like around 70-80% APR, and investors could share investing through app globally. And our vision is to unite all Muslims around the world to do business partnerships, in trade, in BNPL, to do business partnerships in real sector, investing in new buildings, new apartments, in real businesses, in their working capital, and to earn halal profits together with Iman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's vision.
Okay, wow. There's so many industries you guys are planning or already investing in. Uh, Real estate, ETFs, gold, crypto that Mark mentioned, and you call it a global initiative, not a local. It's not like it's based in Uzbekistan, but your aim is to grow globally, right? And that's a big ambition, and I wish you good luck
Yes,
on it.
exactly.
Uh, okay, and margins are higher. Okay, sounds good. And you also sort of in a way promote business partnerships throughout Muslim countries, or whoever interested in your business can join and build business partnerships. So it's like a big platform for businesses as well, not only customers who want to invest or who want to purchases, but also for businesses as well. Okay, amazing.
Yes.
That's good. Uh, how long have you guys been in business for again? 2.5 years? Is that correct?
Well, that's 2.5 years ago. I think that's when we came up with an idea.
Okay.
But the company itself is probably a bit, 1 year or so old. But then, I mean, we have only launched the investment product about 2 months ago, so it's very, very new.
You launched the first product 2 months ago, you said?
The investment product.
The investment product. The BNPL product was launched like 6 months ago, and the marketplace was launched 1 year ago.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That's not too long. How has the business been running so far? What's the current status of the business? How much funds have you guys raised as of today, and how much revenue have you guys generated for your customers already? If you could touch on this, Rustam, Mark.
Yeah, now we are at the stage of soft launch. It means that we don't do marketing at all. We just do brand awareness, promoting our vision, promoting the values of Islamic finance, the benefits, the advantage, educating the people, and not investing in ads, in marketing campaigns. And yeah, that's as far as the whole business concerned. Um, um, we are at the stage of the closing the seed round right now, and yeah, I think for fundraising, Mark could tell you more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as Rustam mentioned, we are in the process of raising $1 million, potentially more, as a seed round. So we are, I would say, sort of in the final stages of closing the round. Expect to close it by the end of September.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. Okay, so you guys are basically in the soft launch phase still, right? Still promoting, still educating people. I'm sure a lot of people are not financial savvy, unfortunately, in the regions of Central Asia, but education is the way to go, I guess. Awesome. Okay, and how can generally people invest? Who can invest in your project? What is the process, and what is the minimum investment, if you could touch on those? I know people can find out about this information on your website, but if you guys they could hear from you.
Yeah, so there are really two main ways to invest. One is to invest through Iman Invest, which is essentially investments in those installment products. So that you can do, you just need to download the app, create an account, deposit the money, and then we'll be managing that capital on your behalf. And that's that has a very, very small ticket size, minimum ticket size requirements. I think you can invest as little as $100. So that's one way to invest. The other way to invest is actually investing in the company's equity. So they invest in Iman as a corporation. And for that, the minimum ticket size requirement as of now is $20,000. And then that's we are raising capital using a convertible note, or what you would call like a safe note. And yeah, I mean, if you're interested, obviously happy to tell you more offline.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, okay, sounds good. Invest installments. It's the minimum is $100, and for big corporation, how much again?
So for investment equity, it's $20,000 minimum.
$20,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And okay, and how happy are your are people who are interested in your let's say how happy are your customers or maybe potential customers? How do you measure the level of their satisfaction of your customers? Since investments are made online, there might be a lack of communication, and how do you guys bridge this gap? Uh, how do you guys communicate to the customers basically, and how do you measure their level of satisfaction?
Yeah, we measure different metrics of using our apps, and one of the metric that we focus on is the conversion from the download to the investment itself. And right now it's 50, I think, Mark, it's 50% of the registered users and 10% of downloads. That's quite high numbers for investment product. And yeah, we really feel that we bring the value
Mm.
with our services.
Okay.
And just to give you some idea on the numbers, I think we had about 800 people who invested through us in the last
Well,
2 months.
what's the average amount of investments, if you could tell me?
Average amount of investments. So the total we have attracted is about $350,000.
Mhm.
So you can do the math. It's 350 divided by 800 or so.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
We'll
400
calculate
something.
it. Yeah.
400 something.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. And what is your ultimate vision for the project? How do you guys imagine Iman in 5 years, or how do you guys imagine the future of Iman in maybe 10 years?
That's a great question. I think we can. I mean, I can give it a shot, and then
Mhm.
Rustam maybe has a different view, or maybe same view as I do. But the way I'm looking at it, our end goal is to really create this bridge between investors based in developed markets
Mm.
looking for high yield, Sharia compliant investment opportunities. And I'm talking about both retail investors, so retail Muslim investors, or any investor that doesn't have to be a Muslim, obviously, like any investors who are looking for, let's say, an ethical way to generate attractive returns, as well as institutional investors.
Mhm.
Um, and on the other hand, you have um, consumers based in frontier markets that need um, access to halal funding.
Mhm.
That's really the vision. I mean, you have like the problem you have in the Western world, and let's say in more developed countries, is
Mm.
that uh, you know it's the yields are very low, so like interest rates are close to zero, or often negative,
Mm.
and you have all those institutions that need to allocate their capital, and right now it's just very challenging to generate attractive, like not too volatile returns, and also in a Sharia compliant way. So you have billions of dollars that is just not really being allocated. And on the other hand, you have customers in like places like Nigeria, like Pakistan, who need funding.
Mhm.
So our goal is to really build this bridge, um, and this way hopefully ease access for financing for 1 billion people. I mean,
Mm.
of course, sounds very ambitious, but that's the goal.
Yeah, you got to be ambitious when you're building a business, right? That's the way to go. Awesome.
Yeah,
Anything to add,
and
maybe from the perspective
yeah,
from?
we have to be ambitious, but we have to be realistic as well. And
Mhm.
I think the realistic numbers that we have is that we have millions of investors worldwide. By as Mark said, our vision is to transfer the capital from developed countries to developing countries and frontier markets like Uzbekistan, and attracting investments from millions and millions of investors from all over the world, and investing in businesses, in trade, in different countries like Uzbekistan, like African countries. and other Muslim majority countries. That's a big vision we have.
Okay, wow. That's a big statement. Transferring from the wealth from developed countries to developing countries, and also at the same time bringing business insights and helping businesses to
To
uh,
raise capital.
apply
Yeah.
certain global standard practices. Uh, yeah, awesome. And that's interesting. You guys are even willing to invest in African countries, all the way from Uzbekistan. How does it go though? How do you guys want to manage this?
Yeah, that's a business expansion and expansion of the existing model
Mhm,
to and adapting them to the local standards. And we already have expansion managers
mhm,
and financial analysts who analyze the different markets. For example, Turkey. For example, Nigeria.
mhm.
The most interesting countries to do the business right now. Um, and yeah, Mark could tell you more about our expansion plans. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think like on the lending side, again, the focus is frontier markets where Muslims live, and I think that's very important. Like the looking at this from a macro perspective, um, the Muslim population is growing faster than like any other religion, and it's a very young population in general. I don't have exact figures in front of me, but it's growing. Yeah, like I think like in a few decades, I think Muslims should shape like what 30 or 35% of global population. Um, so like looking at it from the macro perspective, you have all those people who are getting wealthier, who are entering middle class, like in all those places like Nigeria, like Pakistan, and those are the markets that are not served by traditional like fintechs, like guys like big players like Klarna or Ethereum. They don't go into those markets, so that's where we see the opportunity. And those countries that have low credit penetration, they have, as I said, significant young Muslim population. People have people have smartphones, people have internet access. E-commerce is growing, and there is usually very little or no Islamic finance. And even if there is Islamic finance, it's usually not, let's say, user-friendly way to get financing. So that's how we are thinking about it.
Okay, awesome. And I could see your logo, and it says faith driven, right? That's a good, what do you call it? An attractive statement for a lot of Muslim people. But what Rustam said, Muslim population is growing the fastest. So it's not only faith driven, but it's also statistics driven. You're targeting one of the biggest segments of the world's population. That's probably very attractive to other people who may not be faith driven, but incentive driven. So
Yeah.
that's a good statement. Uh, okay, I don't
Yeah.
want to be ignoring some questions that are coming. I just want to bring some of them up. Let's see. One of oh, sorry, you wanted to add something, Mark?
Yeah, no, I think I just wanted to say, like, yeah, I mean, faith driven, like, what it means for me, like, um, like, even though, like, there's so much, I'm not a Muslim. However, if you think about Islamic finance, I think Islamic finance values, they make sense in general. You don't have to be Muslim to believe in Islamic finance. Islamic finance to me is just a more fair, let's say, more just
Mm,
financial system. So I think there is a lot. I mean, and a lot of people just don't really know much about it. And like I didn't know anything about it until we started working on this. But I think there is, like, for people who are in the traditional financial system who don't know anything about Islamic finance, this is,
yeah.
uh, I mean, this is something I would definitely recommend everyone to explore. Just yeah, the values that they just the values of risk sharing, the values of transparency. Um, you know, they work for anyone. No matter if you're Muslim, if you're Christian, whoever you are.
hmm hmm Okay, awesome. Awesome. I'm sure. I believe in the objectivity of your statements, since you represent, I would say a non-Muslim in like part of the company. So I believe in your objectivity. So
I mean, I'm
okay,
biased, of course. I have to be. I'm biased, but
yeah.
it's
All right.
it's our project. So
all of us are biased in many ways, right? So we got to be biased somehow.
Yeah.
So, okay, for a Muslim, this is one of our executive board members, and it's asking, for a Muslim, it's essential that her money is spent on good ethical causes. How can you convince your investors that Iman invest in their money in ethical questions,
Yeah,
questions? Okay, if the questions
yeah,
are clear, please, Rustam, pick it up.
yeah. Thank you, Begzadaka. Yeah, great question. Um, um, the ethics in Iman is verified by fatwa that we received from Sharia scholars, the professors and the doctors of Islamic finance. One of them is Dr. Ziad Muhammad, who
Mhm,
provided us with a fatwa which says that we uh, work and finance and invest according to the Sharia rules. And
mhm,
the contracts that we use are Mudaraba, Murabaha, and Service Ijara. So using Mudaraba contract, we partner with investors and do business using the risk sharing principle in Islam and Mudaraba. Using the contract Murabaha, we finance the deals. And using the contract service Ijara, we finance the services. So that's the contract that we use. And in all mashabs, these contracts um, are known to be Sharia compliant.
mhm, mhm. Awesome.
And
Um,
also, like we have a Sharia department, and the this department is independent from the management, and this department audits our accounts and our transactions every quarter.
mhm.
And if we do not fulfill to the standards of Sharia, they would not provide us with a fatwa.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
So that's a second audit that we pass. The first is financial, the accounting, financial audit, and the second one is the audit of principles of the
Uh,
principles of Islamic finance.
okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. So you said there's quarterly auditing. So fatwa is made only once or every quarter. How does it happen?
It is provided once, and it remains it stays with the company
Hmm.
if the company passes the quarter audits.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So the next question is coming from Yuldus. That's a different subject. Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to ask that how can I check investments and monitor them? Thank you for your response.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, Yıldız. Um, One of the great principles of Islamic finance is transparency, and we show every transaction that we do and every transaction that we finance in our app. You can see there in the dashboards every Uzbek sum that we invested using the investors' money, not only yours but also all partners.
Hmm.
So yeah, so everything is visible, and and we are making it user friendly like every day, and we are releasing new versions of the app every week.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong again. They can use both the website and also an app that they can download uh, to monitor and also see what's going on with their investments, right?
Uh, Iman Invest is an app. It's a mobile first, and it's an app. The website is for information only.
Okay.
It's a yeah.
Okay. Got it. Some of the audience members are asking for your contact, so we'll be sharing it in the comments later on. Let's roll with the questions. Uh, So you already kind of answered this question. Is Iman Invest an opportunity to earn profits only for Muslims? Obviously, not only for Muslims. Anybody can invest in it. right? Uh,
Yeah, sure.
and you guys don't care about people's faith while accepting their investments. And you guys have like an agreement that they sign or something, right? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, downloading the app and providing your personal information, you are agreeing to terms and conditions and to privacy policy, and yeah, everything is online.
Hmm. Hmm. And as Rustam said, we should not only be ambitious but also realistic, right? Uh, so let's see. Please tell me about some of the potential risks and what may go wrong and how you want to leverage them.
Yeah, investors need to understand that there is a risk, and that risk makes their profits halal, right? If there if there was no risk and there was guarantee,
Hmm.
there wouldn't be a profit. There wouldn't be ethical and halal profit. So, what are the risks? First is a business risk. The business risk of Iman is that installments go default, and we verify the repayment by using the scoring system that is used like in a
Hmm.
general
Financial
in
industry.
standard lenders by banks, for example. Yeah, but we have much proprietary scoring than Uzbekistan banks use. I can talk about like hours about our scoring, but in simple words, yeah, that's the main risk of Iman, and that's how we um, manage it.
And
Okay.
then, I mean, of course, there are some other risks, like there is a currency risk. I mean, if you're based in the US,
Hmm.
you'll be investing in Uzbek soms and you'll be generating profits in Uzbek soms. So there is a risk that the currency will be devaluated.
Mm.
And then the way, also, there is no real proper way to hedge this risk, like in a Sharia compliant way.
Yeah,
Like insurance would not be, like currency risk insurance would not be Sharia compliant. The way we mitigate that risk is, I mean, it's really, uh, it's in the returns you're generating. So we do expect, Uzbek sum to devalue, you know, 10 to 15% every year, and it's baked into, your return expectations. So if you're saying that on average you'll be generating a 50% return in Uzbek sums, I mean that's, in US dollars it's equivalent to, I don't know, let's say 35% or 30%. So yeah, I would say those are like the main risk. I mean, the default risk one, the currency risk two, and then, I mean, of course there is also business risk. If your man goes out of business, there is that risk. Which is why, like, which is what we are mitigating by raising funding.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I would say those are the main ones.
Hmm. Hmm. Business risk, default risk, and currency risk. Those are the three main factors that may negatively impact
yes, exactly.
the business. Okay.
Yeah.
And Okay, sounds good. And before the interview, I made a little research into the insights of your business, and some questions popped up. Some of them are interesting, some of them are, more serious questions. So your logo symbol looks interesting because it has the same shape as the Judaic symbol, the Star of David, or we call it Davut in the Eastern languages, right? So what does your logo symbol mean or stand for?
Right. So the logo uses uh, the Islamic symbol. First, there is written Iman in Arabic language, in that in our star, and what that star means. Um, that comes from our history. They were they were they were ancient kings in a in in I don't remember the country, the ancient country,
Mhm.
but uh, that symbol was created by them, and that meant 8 merits of Islam. First is like Iman, then it's sabr, then it's keeping your word, and there was eight merits. So we are using this symbol, and inside of this symbol there is written the first merit, Iman.
Okay, first merit Iman. Okay, so it's
Yeah,
based.
and it was this symbol was created by the um by the grandfather of Ertugrul, the king of Turkish people.
Okay.
I learned something new today as well. I didn't know about that.
Oh wow.
Mark knew about Iman, but he didn't knew about the A star.
No, yeah,
It's good we
Yeah,
brought it up then. Like some
yeah,
good enlightenment for Mark today.
exactly.
yeah,
That's
yeah. It
probably
was hard
the.
to explain, yeah, in
Mhm.
English, but yeah,
Yeah.
the story is very interesting.
I personally myself understand it, but I just want to make sure everyone else is, on the same page. And I like your website and how it's structured. There are three languages you can pick, which is amazing. So that means it's user friendly. Whoever speaks English, Russian, or Uzbek can just use it. Simple and understandable. Why is your logo in green? Why the color is in green?
Yeah, again, it's from Islam.
Mm,
Green is known to be the favorite color of our great Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
hmm.
and yeah, we use this color.
Okay, awesome. Mhm. That's the answer I was expecting, actually. uh, okay, in May 2021, Iman was the first Uzbekistan-based startup that represented the Central and Eastern European region at the Seed Stars Worldwide Competition Grand Final. The company is now in the process of closing their seed funding round. Right, I took this information from your website, literally. So, what is seed funding round?
So yeah, so seed funding round is essentially it's usually the first like external funding that a startup raises.
Hmm.
I mean, in some cases there is also a pre-seed round. So
Hmm.
pre-seed is usually like before you even have a product, like you raise money to build a product. For us, we were bootstrapping the company for the first couple of years. So
Hmm.
it was just our own money, like our sort of family and friends' money.
Hmm.
Uh, so this is the seed rounds are the first funding we are attracting from external investors, and
Hmm.
then usually that is followed by Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D, and IPO. That's sort of the common process. Usually do a new funding round every year or so. So yeah, the $1 million that we are raising right now, that that's essentially should give us a runway for 12 months, and then put us in a good position for the Series A fundraise.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. And Iman is the first platform in the world to combine three products: marketplace, financing, and investment services. Right. So, is there no direct competitor to your firm?
So there is competition. There is no, I would say, I mean, let's say we have two main products, right? So one
Yeah.
is the buy now pay later solution. The other one is the investment product.
Hmm.
So in Uzbekistan, you definitely have competitors among other buy now pay later solutions. On the investment side, you don't really have any direct competition. Like for us, the biggest competition is just the money that people just don't invest. That just people just store under the mattress. So that's really the main competitor for us. Of course, I mean we assume and we hope that there will be more competition. I think that would be healthy, for the market, for competitors to emerge. I mean, that's speaking of Uzbekistan. And then if you look more broadly, if you look at if you look internationally, I mean, as far as we know, like we are the only company that built, such a buy now pay later solution that's funded by, through halal source of funding. And that's really the only way you can make a buy now pay later solution truly halal, truly Sharia compliant. And that's really what differentiates us, from Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay, any of those guys, because they raise money from banks, from other lenders, and their source of funding are not Sharia compliant by default. While we raise money from retail investors through our platform, and then in the future we'll be raising more and more money from institutional lenders, but also in a Sharia compliant way. So yeah, I mean, the short answer, like if you look at the concept of it, if you look at the whole concept of Iman, there is no such solution that exists, at least as far as we know. However, there are other investment products available in the US. You have Vahid Invest, which also offers halal investment options. You have other players. I mean, Islamic Fintech in general is a very new industry. I think traditionally, Islamic finance, Islamic Fintech has fallen behind traditional finance, traditional banks and traditional fintechs, which is a shame. And again, this is like also one of the reasons why people in those frontier markets don't have the same access to financial products that people in developed markets do. And this is like the problem that we are trying to solve.
Just to be clear, how do you define frontier markets again?
Well, I think there are different ways you can define them, but in general, it's markets that have like GDP per capita below, I think, I mean, depending on who you ask, could be like below $2,000 per capita, or maybe $3,000 per capita. And those also the countries that tend to be, growing really fast. They tend to have young population that usually don't have a developed capital ecosystem. So I would say, like, on the scale from you have like developed markets on one side, so like US, Western Europe, Japan, Australia. Then you have emerging markets, which are places like Brazil, like Russia, like Saudi, and then you have frontier markets, which are sort of a step below that eventually should go into emerging markets category, and then hopefully eventually go into developed markets category. So yeah, again, like those places are like have very low GDP per capita, like Nigeria, like Uzbekistan, like pretty much all of the countries in Central Asia, and maybe except for Kazakhstan, which is more emerging. And then most countries in Africa, and yeah.
So like fast developing, basically, countries in one term. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes sense. I just want to respect your time and everything. I know you guys are busy, man. So if we want to continue for another 5 to 10 minutes, because we have some questions piled up, would you guys be okay?
I have plenty of time. I'm
yeah, sure.
Okay. Just make it clear. Okay. On our user app, it provides on your user app, it provides a fatwa, right? In Islam, a decision on any issues made by a mufti, faqih, or alim based on the principle of Islam and on the precedents of Muslim legal practice. Are all of your business practices and decisions based on that one fatwa alone, or what else does it depend on?
Yes, great question, by the way. So once a financial product is created, it needs fatwa. So it needs a structuring, and it needs an opinion from a scholar that this product is structured in a proper way, and it can be used, and all the transactions that go through using this contract will be Sharia compliant. So it goes like, first you structure the product, and then you facilitate the transactions, and then the Sharia board audits these transactions and compares these transactions to the original fatwa received.
Okay.
So answering the question, no, not every transaction is checked by Sharia scholar, because it is impossible, because our transactions is facilitated within seconds, minutes. but usually how the audit works is they are checked afterwards, and yeah, that's how usually it works.
Okay, and one more question that might be interesting to many people. All business processes at Iman are subject and successfully go through the annual Sharia auditing. Transactions only take place after all assets are fully owned prior to being sold. So, what is annual Sharia auditing, and how different is it from the Western way of auditing? I mean, Deloitte and the
Yeah.
KPMG or all these big auditing corporations do. How different is it?
Yeah. Great question, by the way. Again, so yeah, the for example, IFRS audit
Mhm.
made by Big Four, they do the audits in order to check the accounts per accounting standards, and
Oh.
the Sharia audit is made to check whether the transactions are made according to the Sharia standards.
Hmm.
So different standards, and IFRS audit is more to check the transparency, the whether the transactions are made properly, and the Sharia audit is to check whether they made according to the principles. So principles of transparency, principles of risk sharing, principles of not trading money, principles of not having gharar, like the misconceptions in their contract.
Hmm.
So it's more principles audit, not like basic accounting standards audit.
Hmm. Yeah, but is there any points where it crosses generally accepted accounting principles or like the standards that you're mentioning? I mean, Sharia auditing. Like, is there any contradicting points between these two standards?
No, there is no contradicting points between these two audits,
Mm-hmm.
because Sharia follows the rules of accounting standards.
Okay.
But and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it follows the rules, but it checks whether the original contracts were basically fair, and they don't have the forbidden points, points by Sharia. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned, riba, gharar, maisir, and etc.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Uh, the next question is was interesting to me, but personally, uh, 250,000 sum, which is about like $250, right? Is the minimum amount. However, you guys recommend that the investors invest from 105 million Uzbekistan sum, which is around $10,000, right? Roughly speaking. Since with a given amount of investment, uh, your investors begin to receive 99% of profits from business projects and funded Iman transactions. So, what do you guys mean by 99% of profits?
So, yeah, so our business now is involved in BNPL, and in BNPL, we have around 50, 60, and it goes up to 70% APR, means like net income.
Uh-huh.
And the investor investing more can receive more share in that profit. For example, one guy invested $500,
Hmm.
he'll receive 70% uh, of the profit.
Hmm.
If the guy invests more,
Hmm.
he can get 90, 95, and up to 99% of the profits.
Hmm.
And we only partner for 1%.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's economies of scale. So the more investment the investor makes, the cheaper the customer acquisition costs for us.
Okay. Customers. Okay. That makes sense. Um, okay. And one of the two documents that make relations between Iman and an investor legally binding is the public offer agreement. And it's a legal document where all rights and responsibilities are listed. could you tell me about a few of the rights and responsibilities of the investors? Some of the more important ones.
Yeah, the most important rights of the investors is information rights. So the investors have have a right to see the transactions, and
Yeah.
that's why we provide full transparency. Also, the investors have a right to receive dividends every quarter. So if the investor wants, he may withdraw the dividends, um, like making a request through app. Um, Also, one of the rights of the investor is to exit the partnership, and that must be made 3 months before the exit. And what else? Um,
Maybe Mark wants to add something.
I think, yeah, no, I think Rustam covered, most of the points.
Okay.
yeah, I think that's main points. That's why the rest is general rights and responsibilities of shareholders.
Okay. Okay. We received some questions from the audience that I want to be ignoring again. Let's see. One of the audience, Akbar Muminov. How are you able to generate 40% return? I'm not sure if it's relevant to what you said previously,
Yeah,
but if you want to answer, please go ahead.
yeah.
Is it guaranteed or generate?
Sorry?
I don't know if it's if he meant guarantee, like.
Yeah, he says guarantee. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, Akbaraka. So in Islam, we cannot guarantee uh, like anything because the only guarantor is
Almighty.
Allah.
Mhm.
And but we can forecast, right? And forecast according to the historical projections, like historical facts and future projections. And BNPL business is actually is very profitable business. Why? Because to explain it in a nutshell, you partner with a merchant. The merchant provides you with a discount. You receive it straight away and reinvest it straight away. Uh, then afterwards, you finance the customer, and he gives you a down payment. You receive the down payment, you put it to reinvestment straight away. Next, the merchant provides you with payable terms, like we buy the stuff before selling, but we pay him in 60 days. So it means that the business has not 365 days in a year. The business has like 400 something days in a year, having a payable terms, and that gives you like 10%, 15% more profits within a year. So BNPL model was created by the investment bankers, the like top investor guys, and that's a great model to invest in. That's why our business has 70%, 80% profit net, and that profit can be shared by individual investors
Right.
globally. That's the business of Iman. That's the gold formula.
Okay, so you already answered the next question from Akbar. How
Yeah.
56% of APR? Those are astronomical numbers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's Akbaraka. If you make a simple cash flow model, and if you calculate all the numbers that I stated, you will have around 150 IRR, and that will provide you with a 70, 80 pure net income. Just use the market rates, and now at the market, the banks offer payday loans at 36% APR.
Okay.
With the reinvestment effect, you will have that figures.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
And just to clarify, like, we are not like payday lenders. We don't offer some like predatory loans. It's market race in Uzbekistan. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
well competitive in
yeah.
the market. Not anything. We're not
Mhm.
trying to.
I mean, in
charge
traditional banks, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the traditional banks offer now the traditional loans at 36%
Mhm. Mhm.
interest.
Mhm. Okay. Uh, that's a fair answer. Mm, I just want to reflect back on one more thing. So you mentioned that investors can't, like, one of the good things that investors will have access to is transparency, dividends every quarter, and exit partnership as long as they let inform you guys 3 months prior, which is very I would say very fair agreement. I would say, uh, and you guys don't guarantee anything. You guys uh, base your numbers and statistics on your forecast. That's fair to tell. And
Yeah.
okay, let's see. Scoring is a system for evaluating and predicting the solvency of potential buyers. The average rate of non-payment of loans in Uzbekistan is 5%, while Iman, using an AI-based scoring system, predicts a non-repayment of loans of 3%, right? So 5% to 3%. Could you explain it in more simple terms so non-banking sector professionals can understand it, if you could?
All right. How AI works in simple words.
Mhm.
So that's how our brain works as well. So we need some data points to forecast the future.
Mhm.
So our AI has around 50,000 data points, and it uses to forecast the the forecast repayments, and it uses like the simple data, for example, man or woman, the age, the number of children, the city he lives in, the mobile operator that the customer uses,
Mhm.
the like all sorts of data, and it predicts the risk and provides a certain profit on top of the product.
Mhm.
Depending on the risk, we have four different risk types, and
Mhm.
like every like basically, if you have hundreds of people, they will have four different types of risk and four different types of profit rates. And no bank uses this kind of scoring in Uzbekistan, and yeah, no bank manages their risk as we do, as
Mhm.
far as I know, of course.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. That's fair. That's gonna be one of our last questions, and I just want to encourage everyone else who are watching us to ask away their questions at the last moment. Among our audience at Uzbek Diaspora, we may encounter some, wealthy individuals, investment bankers, or institutional or individual investors, right? Or maybe equity fund managers with significant capital in the States, Canada, or Europe. And they may find our content and may get interested in making significant amount of investments in Iman Invest, right? They may or may not have the same faith of Islam. They could be Uzbek, they could be Muslim, they could be non-Muslim, but they are interested. Let's assume they're interested and they have a lot of capital. What are your suggestions for an institutional investor? Why should they invest in Iman?
Yeah, it's profitable business. It's a future unicorn. Invest in Iman. Don't be fate driven. Just that's why we have a term sheet from American fund. There is no Muslim in like LPs, and
Mhm.
there is no Muslims in managing partners. They just feel they just feel the uh, where the profits are. They feel the returns. That's it.
Mhm.
Uh, we are a faith driven company, but we are um, we our vision is to show the beauty of Islam. But one of the beauties of Islam is that we are tolerant. We have sabr, and
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are totally fine with doing business with no emotions.
Hmm. Yeah. And I can see that you guys use the word baraka a lot, which already explains. Baraka means like, how do you say that? It's like multiplication of your wealth, basically, right? So
Yeah.
it is an incentive-driven business, not only faith-driven business. So that's fair to say. And I like the comparison you made between AI and our brain. That was very
Yeah.
interesting. And it's good you said that we're tolerant. We accept every faith, and we accept investments from people of different backgrounds and stuff. Um, that's good. And I just want to give the final say to Mark first, and then Rustam, so we can wrap up our today's interview webinar.
Yeah.
Any
No,
final,
I mean, sorry.
any final words?
Any final words? Well, I mean, thanks for watching. I think if you are interested in, engaging with us in any shape or form, whether it's making an investment or, we're always hiring, so we're always looking for talent, and it can be anything from, from finance related jobs to tech related jobs. I mean, we're always interested in speaking to young and talented people. And then also, always thinking about expanding to new markets. So if you're based in, wherever you are, if you're based in Canada, and you think, I think Canada, if you think Canada could benefit from a solution like ours, we're
Yeah.
always happy to have a chat.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, I mean, you can always, if you have any questions, you can always, you can always message me. I can share the contact details
Mhm.
with you, Khasan, and
Sure.
people
Yeah.
who reach out to me
You
to.
can go ahead and share in the comment section. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yes. And sorry, but before we wrap it up, one question was missed. Maybe it was important. As Azamat Vlogs asked, my question is for Rustam Akad. What are your main goals for the near future, and have you ever thought of opening an Islamic bank? We might have touched on it, but like, if you want to wrap this up, feel free.
Yeah. My goals for the near future is to open up the new investment products, and I'm currently working under it. I'm currently working with Mark on investing in shares, in halal shares, in the Uzbek market and also in international market, and also looking for the opportunities to invest in businesses. That's like my 50% of my time is devoted to. And about opening up an Islamic bank, I think um, bank is um, is more about the regulations and constraints rather than opportunities. That's why we are fintech. We are faster. We are more UX friendly. We are more technology company. We are not a bank. And yeah, we are first Islamic finance company in Uzbekistan, and we are global. We are not like banks down to one country's regulations, one country's central bank
Mhm.
policies.
Yeah.
And I think that's much bigger than opening up an Islamic bank.
Right.
But definitely, we will be offering the products that Islamic banks do.
Hmm. Hmm. Sounds good. Okay, and you guys will be as you guys will be expanding. Of course, there'll be a need for good professionals in different, in the different what do you call roles in the organization, right? And you guys will potentially be hiring. So we would love to work with you guys to help you, find the right candidates. Maybe that's one of our goals.
Yeah.
Investment products, halal shares that you guys want to be offering soon, which is amazing. And what Rustam said at the end, banks. are more about constraints and barriers, but fintech is the future. So fintech, you would say it's not a bank, but it's an alternative for a bank, right? If you want to use something alternative to bank, go ahead and use Iman Invest. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
that's your response. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
And if you have any final words, please go ahead and share, Rustam.
Uh, Final words. I just wanted to thank you for doing this. I think you are great. Yeah, you are doing a great job. You are uniting people. You are uniting Uzbeks, and yeah, that's what we do in investments. And yeah, thank you very much. I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and effort into making this interview so great. And I personally wish you guys good luck in your future plans and your future investments. And I hope to be in touch with you guys. And I'm hoping that this is not going to be the only interview we'll have. Hopefully, we'll be working together. Maybe at some points our missions cross, and would be more than happy to help you guys. And
Yeah.
wish you good luck. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hassan. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. That was a real pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.